So the purpose of tonight is just to really have a chat with you guys and see how we can help and what you need as well. You know, I'm in the same boat as you. My sole focus is just run to the crystal exec, so just doing the road, the crystal exec map basically. And I assume you guys are doing the same. So rather than this being like a bit of a dictatorship, take yourselves off mute, Lockie and Laura and Fib, and let us know what do you guys actually need to crank this business?
Do you want to jump off, Laura, or?
I'm just thinking about my answer for that one. So.
Oh, well, I can kick off if you like. Just very quickly. Yeah, I suppose with the increased work that I've just had, I've really gone missing in terms of my business activity. So I think I keep harping on it, and I'll have to thank Laura again, but I think she did a call a while ago about tracking leads and contacting them, and then if they didn't answer, then put them 2 or 3 or 4 weeks down the track in the Google Calendar, and that's how I worked really well. And so I think for me it was just action and just getting in front of like the computer and just doing the work and doing the do. But for some reason I don't know what it is, but maybe my focus has kind of changed a little bit to work and a few other different things. But yeah, I feel as though like over the last week or two, it's coming back, and I've just been a little bit down with social media presence and posting and different things like that as well, and getting those interests, new likes, new messages, and new connections out there. So I think I've been very lazy with just going back to the well of the other guys that I've got in my list. So it's getting back just to basics for me, like really back to basics that worked, and enrolling 2 a week and getting back into that. And that I've been like very slack, and it showed through the business really, and how the results have just kind of that have shown up. So yeah, for me it's certainly getting back to that and being accountable with just the absolute basics, because I knew it worked at the start, but yeah, now it's dropped off. So yeah,
that's cool. And how is your business going, Lockie? Like what's just give me an idea, where are your cycles at each week?
Cycles are anywhere between 1 to 4, I think. Yeah, like they really for me, I think a lot of my guys, because I started touching base a little bit, and they said they had a little bit of a break over the Christmas period, and that might have been a bit of a fault of mine of not getting them to stock up or do some cleanses and different things like that as well. And yeah, I don't know, but I think there was a break over the Christmas period, a break because they found as though that they were eating lighter and healthier that way, so they didn't really kind of need it. So yeah, like with the 100 I checked the other day, 140 or 150 that I've enrolled, literally there's about 10 to 12 that are active. They're actually kind of, there's probably only about 8 that are over 100 BV at the moment, and the rest are at 70, 50, whatever. So I'm going through my list, and I've made a list at the moment of the inactive people to touch base with them and to say, listen, I'm going to be, Mandy sent me like a little flyer thing that I think Anna Richards did on that call. So I'm going to basically send out that thing and say, listen, do you want to kick back in with a 4 or 16 week challenge with me? I've just signed up. Just need to touch base and get people back into ordering and back into, getting consistent on their products again.
Yeah. So you've enrolled 150 so far. That's awesome, man. And your retention at the moment. And the reason why I'm working through this with you as well is because I think Laura and you'll probably get a lot out of this as well. And I've been in the same boat, man. But the retention's a big thing there, yeah? So You've got 50 customers, and I can't remember who said it, but it was basically that it takes 10 times the amount of energy to get a new customer than it does to keep one that you already have. And you know this in PT. So how many people do you have on the books in PT at the moment that have worked with you or are still working with you at the moment?
Oh, clients at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be about 25 to 22 to 25, I think. Yeah.
Do you have any group classes as well?
I've got a few 2-on-1s and 3-on-1s. Yeah.
Yep. So like the reason why I wanted to talk about that, because the impact meter, and I've brought this up a couple of times, but when we're really treating this like a business, we are our first customer. So if we ever get stuck and we're not creating that attraction, then we just need to be a product of the product. You know, fasting, when you're cleansing, you probably notice the same thing. People bring it up in conversation, like, what are you doing? Say, well, I'm fasting. Okay, why are you doing that? Da, da, da. So when you're in motion with that yourself, that's the easiest way to get back into it. So number one, be your best customer. Then you got to figure out how you know, and I guess this is the point of 90 days momentum, is then how do we find 10 new people to serve and to help? And, you know, you can go resurrect the dead. I wouldn't waste too much energy there, but what you can do is, you do have 150 customers, you can create a what and a when. So, and this is something that I was trying to share the other day, but this is something from Roger Hamilton, and it's like having an arrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got a what by when, which is essentially like a promotion. Yeah. So you could go back to the crew that you have and say, listen guys, we're doing, on the, I don't know, the 16th of April, Mandy's got one for mamas as an example. We're doing a 30-day reset. So you're giving people an opt-in date, and they know that's when they start. And I think that can create a little bit of urgency for that current list that you have, and see if anyone wants to do like a 30-day reset, like after a busy new year or something like that. So that's a good strategy, because again, the strategy for you will be different than what it will be to Laura. But again, all you're trying to do is you're going to figure out how can you get 10 new customers or 10 new active people. So, because that's step one. Then the next step is going, well, how do I get to 100 customers? And you've done that, you've got 150 people. But that's when you treat this like a business. Now, the key thing you mentioned before, man, was that it's an energy for energy business as well. Same as PT. If, like, imagine you just didn't rock up for PT 1 week. Do you know what I mean? Like, your clients would go elsewhere because they'd find someone else to solve that health problem for them. So you're identifying that, you know, you've got 150 customers. So you've gone past the apprenticeship sort of phase, which is your first 100 people that you've individually helped. And now the next step is going, well, shit, how do I, you know, retain them and keep that business ticking over? And it sounds like the systemization and stuff in the background is what you need help with, so that you can do it with simplicity and ease, so that you can then focus on PT and then just plug people in. And that's probably a big thing there is leverage, man. So, you know, if you get really good at, you know, just having the conversation, and then in that moment, connect them in a 3-way Facebook message, like with me or Laura or someone else, then that conversation begins. You can use schedule links so that people actually schedule themselves into your diary, and you can set that. Or like you said, like Laura said before, using the Google Calendar and like just physically going on your phone and putting a reminder in to do that. So there's sort of 3 strategies and platforms that you can use as well. But on the other side of that as well is, you know, you probably want to attract 100 new customers in the next 90 days or the next 12 months, yeah? But for this as a business is, and this is probably a challenge to you, Locke, do you want to keep attracting, you know, clients that you help get healthy, or do you want to attract more people like you that actually want to enroll 100 people? What do you where's your energy with that?
Just say that one more time. You just broke up that last 2 sentences. You broke up 5 seconds ago.
So just saying, like with the, I guess, you know, you could attract 100 new customers like you already have, who are product users, or would you rather attract 10 personal trainers who want to integrate the system as well and maybe enroll 100 people?
Obviously that's the goal there as well, and whether that comes to, you know, me owning it as a business a little bit more. And so when me and Blackers are catching up a little bit more often, we start talking about, you know, do I start posting a little bit more about, you know, there is a business opportunity and inviting that energy in. The people that might be sitting there going, well, I know that he's unity, you know, for these reasons, you know, like there might be a few people there that are doing it, and they just might need to see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the certainty you have around that as well, and even the way that, you know, we speak about it now. Like I've had that faith. Like I'm just literally, this is just a conversation, and that's, I guess, what these Bfree Mondays can be, is just this conversation we can learn from each other. But you know, when you have that directness that, you know, you are a PT, and the secondary thing that you do is you also have another tool in your belt, which is nutritional cleansing. Then you look at it for your clients, and like your clients, like, well, I want to lose weight. It's obvious, like, oh, you know, intermittent fasting, whole foods, this works. Here's the social proof. Easy, right? You know, show them a couple of photos, connect them in a message, then it's just that conversation, they get started. And you do that obviously quite easily. But now it's going, well, how can you then, attract other PTs? And maybe you become the PT that gets the best results. Do you know what I mean? Because you own the fact that, what you do, your standard is that anyone that works with you, not only do they do the physical training, but you're working with them internally as well. And you're managing those behaviors and habits, plugging them into the BL community, et cetera, and leveraging that whilst you focus on what you do. Because then you might be able to attract these other PTs with a different conversation. Be like, hey man, you should integrate this as well. Check out the results I'm getting, and I'm getting extra $200 a week or $300 a week on top of what I'm doing residually. And I think that's an attractive conversation. So just a couple of ideas, because the point I bring that up for is because how do you go from 100 people to 1,000 people and really start to get your business ticking over? Is basically that conversation. Is attracting more people like you. So yeah, just plant that seed, man. But if there's anything I can do to help, 3-way messages, things like that, you can literally book me out over the next 90 days. I'm not going to be. My focus is purely going to be on this. So I know you're busy. I've got time. So you leverage me. I'm sure you can leverage Laura as well for the right conversations. And I know Rob and Rhea and Tully and that are in motion as well. So that'll probably be a big thing if you are finding that you're a bit off track not off track, but just, your focus is on your primary cash flow business. And then this is a secondary thing that you just need a bit of support with, which is the way network marketing's been designed in the first place. And I think we've all overcomplicated it for a long time and forgot the simplicity of leverage.
Yeah, I think everything's kind of settling down. I'm getting into a good groove now, so it's I'm looking forward to, because I was spending a good 3 hours, 4 hours a day on this, with just either supporting cleansers, which I don't kind of really want to do anymore, but getting out there, getting and connecting and posting and doing things. So I'm looking forward to getting into a good bit of momentum again. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, anything you need help with, just let us know. And I guess what's the primary focus for you over the next 90 days?
It'll be fresh conversations and just being consistent. So actually getting out there, posting, getting some content out there, I think. But it would be to get some people out there enrolled, but then also getting them paid as well. So getting that energy into that, I think. Yeah. So
what do you think would be your next what and when? Like, when are you going to have like a something that someone can enroll in? Do you know what I mean? Like, when's the next Lockie's PT challenge or something like that? When? Because I know that obviously works for you. What's your what and when? What's the date?
Because I got on a little bit too late, but I threw out something out there for today for the Easter post-Easter cleanse. But I think I need to, in 2 weeks, not this Monday but next Monday, have like a challenge ready to go out there, and like a plans, so design it up to whoever it's gonna actually target, and go from there, I think. So
you could almost have you almost have two angles, you know what I mean? Like, you could have April 16. I'm going to take 10 people through how to integrate nutritional cleansing with their personal training work, or vice versa, right? But it's really clear. It's April 16th. So people know there's a start date, which creates urgency. And that's something you can send out to your people and even the ones that you're currently with, and like, do you want to get involved in this? So yes or no answer. But you could also do something like, I'm going to teach 5 other PTs how to earn a residual income on the side. You do you know what I mean? So you could actually then, and you're only going to work with 5 of those. So you're working with 5 PTs, and then you're working, maybe 10. Imagine if you enrolled 10 people a month. That would be pretty sick, right? So you work with 10 cleansers a month and 5 business builders. And if you keep putting out that energy, the simplicity of it will attract it. And you might find that, PT is the easy one, or maybe it's, I don't know, whoever, other allied health professionals or other people that that want to share it. But just got to find what's sort of congruent to you and where your natural flow is.
I think that's a good thing. For some reason, I attracted mums as well. So whether I can kind of piggyback on Mandy's thing too, but I think that's a powerful thing. I think as well, that 5 PTs, how to integrate what I'm using with your clients, with your business as well. Just throw it out there, I think.
Yeah, and also for roles and residual income. I remember when I was a personal trainer, if someone said, here's a way you can earn an extra $500 a week, and that conversation would have excited me more than the knowledge about nutritional cleansing. I'd have to do that for myself, because when I was a PT, I had a bit of a health ego, and still battling that now. Like thinking I know a lot more than what I do. So and you're probably the same. You can probably relate to that. So when we're talking to other PTs, they just, if we have a conversation about money, which is the thing that we find it hard just to talk about, right? Or say like, oh man, do you want to, like, I'm integrating this thing, it earns me an extra $400 a week or $200 a week or something. Like, you should check this out. It's an organic, authentic conversation. It's something that you're actually in action and doing. And then when they ask you how, say, hey, listen, have a chat with Ross. Do you know what I mean? So then you get to focus on being a PT and, getting the results. And then you just defer to me or Tully or other people for the business chat.
Yeah.
After you've talked about the money and got them excited, yeah?
Yep, certainly.
Does that sound like a good strategy?
I like it. I like both of the angles, like what you just said then about, I think April 16th is going to be good of the next 2 weeks to post regularly about that, get some interest and say this is, I want 10 people for the cleansing option. And then, own that five PTs option, I think, as well. Yeah,
and the thing is, man, as well, is like, if you got like the simplicity of this, and this is, I'm sharing this because what I've done as well is like, if you do like that same challenge, April 16, May 16, and you only work with 10 clients, the same way you only work with a certain amount of PT clients, right? By the end of the month, by the end of the year, you've enrolled 120 people. And like you said, you attract a lot of mums, and like the conversation with mums, you're working with the PTs, like, hey, you should like, have a chat with Mandy about, the products, you got an amazing result. They're going to be excited. Be like, it's probably not the right time to talk about now, but have a chat with Mandy about the opportunity on the back of this. And the mums were like, oh, that's interesting. Do you know what I mean? So, and you could, because the thing is what I want to really, like, I've been watching your journey a little bit as well. And I'm always really curious of people who, like, you can enroll, but it's how do you go from 100 to 1,000? And it's, it's finding that one or two business builders in there amongst the mums and amongst the PTs that you're working with who actually want to treat this like a business, because then that's where the ripple effect really starts to happen, because they find 100 people and then that mum might know a mum who knows another mum. And the way that I've got 33,000 people in my business, I've only enrolled, just over 100 people, man, like, in complete honesty. But the thing is like the thing that I picked up really early days was this concept of duplication. And what will happen is people will tell you that they did it themselves, because you've made yourself so progressively redundant from their journey that they are empowered to go to the event. They jump on ANZ Ice business and things like that. So, so I just want to share that, because that's the challenges that I'd love to see. Well, that's how your cycles will go up, is once we find those couple of business builders in your team. Yeah,
exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Cool, man. What about you, Laws? Well,
I'm just heating up my steak as well.
Lost you.
We're going good. So I know for myself, where my biggest accountability needs to be is in having our 24 conversations each week. I feel like even just doing all the practice with Cara, that our systems is good, and we're keeping it simple, and we're using tools, and we're linking people up with other people that will resonate with them, and it's we're getting good results with the ones that we do it with. But I know for myself, I just need to be having more, or want to be having more conversations about it, so I then can put all this into place, because I know we get the results when we do it, but it's just, not having enough conversation. So where are you
meeting those people? Where are you meeting the people you're having the conversations with? Like, is it something that comes naturally? Are you finding there's a bit of resistance and it's quite hard to have those conversations?
It's even, there's resistance in the conversation. I'm getting to, so I'm chatting with people, I'm starting conversations, I'm finding new people. It's been amazing. I've met some incredible people. And then I am really good at questioning to find out how isogenics could fit for them. But then when it comes to actually solving that problem for them, then I just get like, like it's just a frozen, and so yeah, I'm just getting stuck, and it's almost like I'm not in my heart and in my mind and in my soul. I know that if I just have this conversation, we will be successful. Like, and I feel because of everything we've learned off all of you guys and the broader Artogenics, I'm just like, I know in my soul that it's going to be wild and crazy and fun, but I'm just getting stuck at actually taking that step over that threshold.
Well, do you know something that was really interesting? So I had a chat with Tully the other day, and he was chatting with Peter, and she said something which I agree with completely, and it's that in our silence, in us saying nothing, Isogenics gets misrepresented, and it's got this feminine energy to it that is so authentic and real and raw. And when you don't have that conversation, you allow 10 other people to have the wrong conversation. Do you know what I mean? So that conversation, that authentic, soul-based, you're just you connect with people in such a beautiful way. And I'm sure that, when you say something from that space, from a heart space, and you're like, well, hey man, I'm like, we're talking about this thing. You obviously know what I'm doing, but have you just look into it? And, you disconnect yourself as being the messenger, the one that gives the message, and leverage the team. I think that's the key thing for tonight is learning, and like obviously having the connection and leveraging Rob and Rhea and other people, and you're getting on the op meetings and sharing a story. So you're in action with all that stuff. But the key thing is having that soul-based conversation, I think, and really allowing yourself to come from that space and when you speak from truth or that authenticity, you don't feel bad about it. But it's when you you don't speak that truth, you get frustrated. And when you hear other people sharing that truth, you get frustrated, right? But as soon as you speak that authenticity, and it's just sharing your story, right? It's not telling them what to do. It's not being a nutritional expert. It's just sharing your experience and saying, hey, you should look into this too, yeah? Does that sound a bit easier and a bit more tangible for you to do?
It's, sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but I think I have a lot of fear around being authentic, and like even on the call last Tuesday, like that was the first time I've actually shared my real, true, business 30-second story in like to someone other than Vivian.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really scared about just being authentic, and I've been doing a lot of work in the last year about working out like what that means, like what authentic is to me, and I feel like I'm getting clear on it, but I feel like I've just got so much fear about being authentic.
Like, I'm not going to go into a coaching mode or anything now, because it's, we're all leaders in this space, and I've been through the same thing, right? But authenticity is an action, I believe, personally. I think you can get stuck in your head and try and figure out who you are and go around and read books and all that type of shit. But inherently, you know who you are and you know what truth you need to speak, yeah? And, when we get stuck in our head with that and try and rationalize and figure it out more, it becomes a thought, it becomes like becomes a head thing, which then becomes a bit of a vicious cycle, yeah? And you've probably seen this before in the past. Like, think of a time where you just naturally did what you love doing. You know what I mean? Like, if I had to ask you now, what are two things that you love doing? What would you say?
Ballet.
You love ballet, yeah.
Ballet and eating Asian food.
There we go. So but it's authentic, it's real, right? It's just what you do. So when you're talking about ballet, it's easy, right? So the thing is like, just come from that space with everything that you do, and this becomes easy, and if I was to ask you to go and do something that makes you happy, and you had to, or say, think about what makes you happy, you think ballet, right? But if you actually go and do ballet, you feel good, yeah? Yeah. So this is the authenticity you're trying to find, the fear you're trying to get over is really it's hidden behind 10 seconds of courage just to take the step and to go do ballet. Do you know what I mean? Because ballet makes you happy. You know, I know that abundance will make you happy. I know that, you know, being in action with that dream in motion will make you happy, right? But reading more books about how to be happy and all that type of shit, it's nice, but it sort of takes you away from the thing that I think you inherently know to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you feel like, so last week was a bit of a challenge for you? Yeah. Like, I could tell that. And that's the reason why I reached out to you to share your money story, because you have more of those money conversations from the point of, here's my vision, here's why I do what I do. And how many people do you think will get inspired and want to jump under that vision? One, to support your vision, and two, to be like, shit, I want to do the same.
Yeah.
How many people do you reckon you could attract and have that type of money conversation?
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
Lots.
So do you mind, like, you know, these 24 conversations that you're having? I know you've done the stats with Robin Rhea and all that type of stuff. And again, we get stuck in the detail of all that stuff because, you know, at the end of the day, we're just going to have the conversation. That's the simplicity of the business. But the heart behind it is what story you're actually telling. So would you feel like out of the 24 conversations, just sharing your experience and your story, like does that, wherever that pops up, does that feel easy? Do you think you could do that?
Yeah. Probably.
Rather than feeling like you have to talk about isogenics or talk about, you know, what's in the products. Does it feel easier to have a conversation and just share? Like, you know, we're chatting now. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling like a little bit like, I've got a bit of gut issues at the moment. You're like, oh, that's interesting. I used to have the same thing. Boom, straight into my story. You know, there's the conversation about my story without it being like a conversation, if that makes sense, yeah? And I share my experience. They're like, well, shit, what did you use? I'm like, I just did this nutritional cleansing program. And I'm like, oh, cool. Who's that with? Do you know what I mean? So you can see the simplicity of it. And the reason why I'm sharing them again, and this isn't a coaching thing, it's being a mirror, I'm doing the same. I'm learning as I'm going with this as well. I'm definitely not a network marketing expert, but somehow I've been able to create leverage and duplication, right? So, and I guess the key thing that I'm going to learn with you as well over the next week is just having more conversations and more stories. So would you be open to doing that with me this week?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So if we were to set a goal, so you said 24, right? What if you, like, organically, authentically from that heart space, were able to share your experience to solve a problem for someone else with 24 people next week?
That'd be amazing.
And do you think that you chat with more than 24 people in a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Right. So you might have 1,000 conversations a week, right? And 24 of those, you're just going to dig a little bit deeper and ask some really good questions. And, or, you know, and someone says, hey, what are you doing? And we're like, oh, actually on the side of what I'm doing this. Or, you know, I'm doing a fasting day. You know, these little things spark interest. And then people ask you, what is it? What are you doing? Yeah. So just organically and authentically be you, take action, do ballet. And I'll do it with you. I'm going to have 24 conversations that involve me sharing my story and my experience from a place of permission for them. Yeah. So maybe 900 of the conversations I had this week, it won't come up. That's okay. It's going to talk about life. But if there's, I'm going to be listening. I'm going to be attentive to the 24 people that there is something that I can do to help and serve them. You down?
Yeah. I'm down. Let's do this.
So let's do it. So those 24 heart space conversations. Now, how many people have you personally got started in your team so far?
So personally enrolled is about 30. I haven't done our count just recently.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah, and then there's been like we've made so Kara's our 5th consultant. So but not current consultant. So not currently active consultant. So yeah, so we've got a few other people that we're also helping to support directly as well. Cool.
So you got 30 people, right? 30 people in your team.
Yeah.
So how do we go from, so you're still in that apprenticeship phase, right? So like you said, there's a lot of learning and things like that. So going from zero to 10 for you is quite easily. So you've got up to 30 people now. So what do you think the challenge is for you to get from 30 to 100 people? How do you take that next step and get 100 people in your business? Are you going to go enroll 7? Are you going to enroll one mum that enrolls 20 people? What are you feeling? What's your strategy to get your first 100 customers?
So yeah, for me, again, sharing that sharing the money side of my story, because I feel like people hear that, they will be inspired to at least want to know more. And so yeah, our next 100 would be, I haven't done the next 100, but I know for the next 70, our aim is to have 70 personally enrolled, and then from that 14 consultants, and then from that some couple of business builders that are actually and helping them to do the same.
Yep. So how many people are in your downline at the moment?
In our downline, just over 200.
Awesome. Okay. So you've already got to that 100 mark in a sense, right? So you've enrolled personally 30. You have 200 people in your downline. Yeah. So how do we get to 1,000 for you? That's the big question.
Yeah. It's just I think just getting more customers to begin with, giving them more customers, and then giving them a good product experience, and then just working with being open with our experience with the business and the financial side, to then work with and help those people that actually want to do this as a business.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing, like the word, obviously business can, not a lot of people want to start a business, right? But the big thing is everybody wants to have a good product experience, and everybody wants to eat for free. So the thing is, like, you have those two conversations. That's like a given. You do that with everybody. Like, there's no one that doesn't have that conversation. But like, that's our culture. Is everyone gets epic 30-day transformation. They do the 16-week challenge. They get a result, and then also, we make sure everyone has the opportunity to know that they can eat for free. That conversation, say for Lockie, if he's doing PT, he's probably not going to have that conversation with a girl who's come to him for PT, right? But what he can do is like, hey, how you eat for free is da 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 da, or here, I'll send you something, or here, have a quick chat with Roz about it. Do you know what I mean? So he can focus on doing what he does well, and then leverage the team to talk about that stuff. You know what I mean? Because that's sometimes where it gets hard. It's like the awkwardness. But if you're going out of your way to connecting with someone, that can be an easy way to do it. And then are you finding you're attracting any business builders? Like Cara, she sounds like a legitimate business builder. And the reason why I'd classify her as that is because she came to an event. She's actually is looking at it for the business, and she's thinking that way. So how many like legitimate business builders do you think you have in your team at the moment?
Only Cara.
Okay, so something shifted, right? Because you're attracting people like that. Cara's essentially like me. She's she's gone to uni, exercise and health science. You're basically, you've shown her a way that she can generate extra income and a different way of doing business without having to create her own products and services, right? So as a health professional, she's like, holy shit, like I get this, I see this myself. And I can see that with the right support, someone like that will be very good at this, right? Providing that you teach her to leverage as well. Because if you can help Cara, help 100 people, and out of that 100 people, Cara has 3 other Caras, then you get to 1,000 very quickly, right? And then so does she, and so on and so forth. So tell me what the next steps are for you. So we want to go from 200 people to 1,000 people in your business. So what's your strategy? What are you thinking over the next 90 days?
So over the next 90 days, that was having 24 conversations each per week.
And
that would work out to be the 70 customers, statistically off the averages that Isogenics have, would be the 70 customers, 14 consultants, and 3 people that are kind of actively building a business. And so,
yep. So 24 conversations a week, on average 8 to 12 follow-ups. You know, so you're looking at a bit of to and fro there. So you know, from that you're looking at what is it, to 240 conversations about Isogenics with the to and fro. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So 24, getting the conversation started, attracting people through your story, not telling them. They go, shit, what is it? What are you doing? How do I do it? How can I get involved? A bit like we were saying with Lockie as well. Do you have a what and a when, like something that you're starting and people can actually plug into? Like, do you have a date?
No, I haven't had we've done them in the past and it never feels right to me. And I don't know if this is like what that's about, but it doesn't feel authentic. Like the campaigns as such never sit well with me, and I don't know why, but yeah.
Probably because they're not your campaigns. Like, you've got to do one that feels good to you. So I was saying to Lockie, the point is if you have a what and a when, the who and the how will show up. But if you don't have a what and a when, then the who and the how will just sort of float around out here, and they'll probably go get started with someone else that's, you know, when they're ready to do it. But the thing is, if you're like April 16, I'm doing a 30-day transformation or whatever, you're having 24 conversations, people know that they can start on this date, and you're only working with 10 people or whatever it is, right? So then it creates urgency, creates scarcity. So these are the things that make people move. Now, how Laura does that, different to how Lockie does that, that's who you are. You know, that's your own personal brand. So, you know, Laura might like to work with mums. That might be your thing. Like, you're going to support 10 amazing women through a 30-day transformation. Do you know what I mean? Like that, whatever wording you do, it's something that, you know, they're coming to Laura and they're like, oh, Laura, what community are you part of? Well, I'm part of Start Your Life. I'm part of the Bfree community. And we've got these number of special other benefits that are involved as well, right? But you're attracting people to you directly, and then leveraging the team, leveraging the physios, the PTs in your group to have those conversations, which can then disconnect you from it, yeah?
Yeah.
And what about the business builders then? So you've got one in Cara. How would you go about attracting business builders?
At this stage, I think it's just, for me, I want to just keep it really, really simple.
Yep.
And for me, what seems to be like grabbing me is that when people think it's simple and easy, they're more open to almost even like accidentally coming into network marketing and then being more open because they think it's simple and easy. And so for Phoebe and I, it's more what we've been kind of discussing with attracting business builders is more around like what we do is simple and like using the tools and leveraging people so that then when people come in and have an epic product experience, they're like, oh, so all they did was link me up with that person or send me those tools. I could do that too.
100%.
As opposed, So that's what we've kind of been working on, as opposed to going after like specific people who we think would be good business builders, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the thing is like, you know, if you had an avatar in your mind, right? The thing is like you're not going out there to like push that agenda, right? But if you're clear in your mind on the type of people that you're looking for, you find them. If you're unclear on who those people are, then you might have met them 10 times already and they just haven't sparked that interest. So the resistance you have around the business builder conversation and the money conversation is a money mindset thing, right? However, if you've already attracted Cara, so you're starting to build a bit of social proof for the type of people you're attracting. They're allied health professionals, right? They're women. They're powerful. Cara's got a really good heart. So there's a level of authenticity and honesty there as well. She's open-minded. She's also skeptical, and she's going to do it for herself. She's very healthy as well. She's an athlete. So you're probably going to find, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but really sit back and think of what are the 10 people that you're talking about getting to crystal exec and all this type of stuff. So who are the 10 people that you would actually sit with at a table and put them on your vision board? Like, is Cara one of them? Fib's one of them. Who's the other 8? You know what I mean? Or other 7. So who are the people that you're going to sit at that table with? And the thing is, if you look at it, like I've been in this business for 5 years. I've only really found like 2 people that I want to share that table with at the moment, Tully and Reese and a couple others, right? So I'm still looking for another 4 or 5. Now, if I got more certain on who that was early days, and the thing is I already inherently knew who it was. I always had this dream of like being on a boat with my best friends, you know what I mean? So naturally, who did I have the conversation with? Tully and Reese, yeah? So sometimes all this stuff is really hidden in plain sight. And again, like you said, we overcomplicate it. So just to wrap up tonight, all I want to do is just really check in where your business is at. And I'll be open as well with my business. So I've got 33,000 in my downline. So I've been able to, early days, and I'll share the thing that really worked for me. And I didn't even know that I was doing it, right? I leveraged the fuck out of Peter. Peter was doing Wellness Wednesdays. Peter was doing this type of stuff. I literally just showed up. And what I didn't realize that I was doing, by showing up, I edified her. So by showing up, being a physio who was working at the senior football team, she was having conversations saying, hey, there's a physio on the team as well. You should have a chat with him. So then they'd see me in that space, and vice versa, or PTs or mums and nurses and things like that. And you edify that space for each other, right? So do that for your people. We'll keep doing this together. And then just leverage. Like, and same with you, Locke, you're busy, man. Like, let's just leverage the shit out of each other. We should have messages just flinging like this. Set your times. You only look at it, certain hours of the day. That's just organization. That's probably not a conversation that I'll be having with you. Someone else in the team can be doing that. Maybe you, Laura. But, once we get that sort of flowing, then it literally is just have those 24 conversations and then just refer, right? And if we look at our businesses individually, so I'm looking at going from 33,000. Next mark is like, how do I get to 100,000? How do I get to 50,000? So like in the back of my mind, I'm going, well, fuck, like it's got to be systemized and leveraged on a really deep level. It's got to be so simple that if someone 10 levels deep is like, how do I build the business? I'm like, okay, well, number 1, be your first customer. Number 2, eat for free. Learn how to do the very basic thing. The next thing is like, well, how do you help your first 10 people? And it's like, okay, well, you can probably do that yourself. How do you help your next, or how do you get to 100 people and like you really get through your apprenticeship? Is that going to take you 6 months, 12 months, 5 years? And then, that's the next step. And then it's like, well, how do I go from 100 to 1,000 people? And then you go, well, shit, I probably can't do that by myself. So I'm going to be needing to build a team, which is where leadership comes in, right? So people then have to grow as a leader to then be able to lead a team. So, and then you start asking the question, well, how do I get to 10,000 people? How do I get a residual income of, 10, 15, 20,000, right? And this is all about building together. It's about team momentum. So like essentially what these 90-day game plans are is where the group comes together and then we go and impact and create a ripple effect together, right? So in the same way, just show up and leverage that for now, and then you then do that in the future as well, yeah? And you'll find that you'll go from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000. And as an example, I work on my ISA business maybe 6 hours a day from Bali. Do you know what I mean? So whatever that version of it is for you, like Locke or Laura, whatever fits into your schedule, you have to figure that out. And it might only be 2 hours at the moment. When I first started, I was with Peter and I was working 100 hours a week as a physio. So I didn't have spare time. So whenever I talked to anyone, I was like, here, have a chat with Peter. And that was it. Here, go to this event. And that was it. That was as simple as it was for me. And then to go from 10,000 to 30,000, things got more complex because I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to leverage deep. Like I didn't know how to do Zoom calls and keep it really simple. So we inherently make it complex. But as you can tell with like tonight, all we're having a conversation with is 1, be your first customer, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. And then, the business conversation is, well, okay, did you go to Isogenics celebration? Yeah, you did. Okay, well, cool. That's how you learn how to run a business. And that's what you did with Cara. So you're already doing that. Now do that again next year. Do that again next year. In the meantime, more customer experiences, more great attraction, more 30-day resets, 30-day transformations. Have your own what and when. Like have those things set up, leverage them. You know what I mean? And then if people want to learn how to do the business in between all of that, be like, hey, every Monday we're just going to have a Bfree call. Every Tuesday we have an op meeting. So they're two things that we can do as a team. And this is something that I share with you guys. The reason why these two things are going to remain constant, rather whether 3 people jump on, 100 people or 5 people or 1,000 people, is because these are the things that will systemize the things that you guys will be able to leverage down the track, as long as they're consistent and they're always happening, right? So I'm going to let you guys know that this is always happening every Monday, every Tuesday as well. And, you know, you guys get to, this is your space as well. So I'm going to schedule it and drive it. But if you need, you know, specific problem solved in your business, then my job will be to go out and find who that is and then get them to come on and talk. And I guess what we were trying to do before, like, was a bit complex with, you know, trying to inspire the leaders to step up and really, you know, schedule and do that type of stuff. But realistically, you know, like me and Tal just had a conversation. We've just got to do it and own it and be the leader of that space. And then you guys can leverage that. Yeah. So does that sound cool?
Yeah, awesome. Very
Make
good.
it nice, super easy.
Yeah, cool.
Do you guys have any questions? What do you need for next week? What would make your life a bit easier? How could we help you as a business next week? Obviously, what we've talked about, conversations and, you know, the what and the when for the next 90 days, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you guys feel would be the most valuable thing for you guys in building this business?
For me, it will be literally to ask what I've done last week, because yeah, you could give me more info, and then it's literally I haven't gotten back to that the basic type of thing. I would say, all right, you've got the 16th coming up. You know, what is it going to be? You know, what have you posted? Who are you trying to attract? And, you know, what and when? How is that going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So a bit of accountability on your business as well. Yeah. Cool. And Laura, what about yourself?
Yeah, same. To know that I'll have to get on next week and tell you that I've had 24 conversations. That would be good to have that accountability. And then same with, for me, some accountability to post daily and show up on social media as well.
Yeah. I think, as you said, not putting a hell of a lot of time into it, but possible strategies of you know, what to possibly throw out to the older cleansers, and yeah, I'm going to start kind of touching base with a few of them, but it will be literally, there's about 120 people there that, you know, I could send something out to and just say, hey, what are your thoughts?
Well, I reckon that's your challenge this week, Locke, is just have a what and a when, and be like, hey guys, starting, you know, something on this date. I know you've done the program before, and I know the results you've got. Would you be interested in you know, getting doing another doing your annual 30-day reset, like something like that, or even the concept of like, do it with me. You know, I'm a PT. Yeah. I'm doing it as well. You're going to be in motion with me. So who would like to do this with me? We're starting this date.
Yeah, cool. I like that. Yeah. Include them in on that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Because I think that's like, and again, don't spend longer than a week trying to resurrect the dead, but get those conversations out this week, and then and then we'll touch base next week, see how that goes. And Laura, for you said the 24 conversations as well is the key thing, and sharing your story. Now, the big thing with accountability, guys, don't come here for accountability. Take ownership of that yourself. But it's nice to have the weekly rhythm, the weekly check-in, where we can have a conversation as people who are doing this together, and be like, hey, Rawls, what'd you do? And same thing, like next week, I'd love you to say, Rawls, how'd you go? Do you know what I mean? As well. And then I can be accountable for that as well. So my accountability this week is to finish my 500 list. And I'm literally going to have 100 conversations about isogenics and the opportunity, and have a what and a when. So that'll be my accountability to you guys.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
All right, legends. Well, I love you and leave you, and we'll chat again next week. Let's keep showing up the Bfree pages. We've got the Be Well Opportunity Night. That's something that you can leverage as well, Locke and Laura. So that'll be consistent. Did you guys get a lot of value out of that one last week?
That's cool.
We had Cara was on, and one of her ladies was on, and she was the one that started on the Ultimate Pack the next day.
Okay, so it works, right? So,
awesome.
So leverage.
Absolutely.
Cool. So let's just keep leveraging that. And the simplicity is there. So those two things are constant: be free Monday and be well Tuesday. Outside of that, obviously Laura, Lockie, myself, we need to build connection, trust, and rapport between each other to be able to, refer and leverage as much as we can. So keep doing that. Maybe have a handful of 10 people you can do that with in the group. So whilst you're connecting with new people, make sure you're building, building rapport with, Tully or whoever else you need in the group. Maybe the Lockie people in Melbourne. Laws, where are you based at the moment?
Phillip Island, Victoria.
Yes, you're Phillip Island as well. So, and again, it doesn't just have to be our team. You can leverage other stories as well, right? But this is how I think we create a really, really nice networked enterprise is just through this simplicity. So, all right, guys, anything else before we shoot off?
No, all good.
Can I just quickly say, we got our first bonus to put towards Vivian's parents' house.
Oh,
See, one step, Laws. Like, and this, do you know what? I would love to jump on this call in 6 months' time and you tell me you've got your 10th one, your 20th one, your 30th one, right? Yeah. And if you just keep coming from that space, that's the story I want you to share this week, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Chat with you soon. Good luck and keep in touch in the pages.
Thanks so much.
See you guys.
See you, Locks. See you, Laws.